Hey guys, my name is Douglas, and we're gonna be talking a bit about RWBY. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of go through each of the volumes, hopefully somewhat quickly, so that this doesn't take forever. But just kind of, I'm gonna give my commentary of what I think RWBY is one of my favorite shows. It has some flaws, but it's one I really like, and whether negative or positive, a lot of people seem to engage in RWBY content, and I've consumed quite a bit myself. And as someone who's really enjoyed this show, I figured I'd add my my bit my 2 cents into it. Uh, I watched the show quite a while ago, and I've just always liked it. So I figured why not. But yeah, we're gonna just go volume by volume, hopefully somewhat quickly. I don't know how long these are gonna be. I'm gonna try and get to volume, not volume. I'm gonna try and get to at least episode 8 here. We'll see how that goes. I've recorded this once, and I never switched over. And since I'm not an OBS person, I figured it'd just be easy to re-record this. So we're gonna kind of go from here. We're gonna start over. I only got as far through the first episode, so we're just kind of gonna try and reiterate. I've got some timestamps, thankfully, for that episode, so we're just gonna go through it pretty quick and get started. So we're gonna keep the episodes pretty quiet. So I'm just gonna kind of give my kind of how I got started with the show. I started watching it I think a few years back. Didn't really know what it was, but I kept getting it recommended in YouTube, I think. And I'd heard a few people talking about it. So I decided to watch it, and I just really enjoyed like animation, particularly the fight animation. I think that's what drew a lot of people to the show. And I think I caught up in the middle of where when Volume 3 was airing. So we're gonna, yeah, it just kind of kept watching and bothering as many friends as I could to watch it. It's like it's just I find the story and characters interesting and engaging, as well as the people behind the show interesting and engaging. So it's just kind of oh yeah, I kind of sped it up so it would go a little bit quicker through the scenes. But yeah, so we're just gonna kind of get into it. I'm not gonna go into every little detail, obviously. We're just gonna kind of go through it, skip around. I'm gonna talk about it. Let's see here. The first scene I want to talk about is not really a scene, but something I just never noticed before. Watch where its placement is. And now look where it is. It's in her hand. Like, I've never noticed this before, and I've seen this show so many times. And it's incredible what you can miss. But and I'm not saying that it's like a mistake or anything. Like, oh, look at that error right there, because I mean, it was obviously done on purpose, because you can see her actually kind of stop the music right there. It's just really cool, because you kind of assume it just kind of doesn't keep playing, but it totally does here. But and then she stops the music, and I've always wondered, never noticed that before, and I heard the clicking sound, but I just never associated that with her actually stopping the music. And with the amount of times I've seen this, I just find it funny that I've never caught that before. I've always wondered, this part coming up here, how people felt about this fight, because it's a very different fight than a lot of the RWBY fights. It's not like sword to sword or hand to hand, and it's very different from what the trailers have. I always wondered how people like felt about this when they first watched it. I still enjoy it, especially the first time through. I don't think you're gonna be paying attention to, oh man, like what is this like? You're probably more interested in like, who is this person? And I always just thought it was weird, because like you don't really see much of Dust. You don't really know what it is, it's apart from the Weiss fight or trailer fight. So it's just like they go from this to this, and you don't know a thing about semblances and how are they doing this. So I always wondered if this fight threw people off. Did they ever say what was in this drink? I think this is one of the best like news we get of it. I think at one point people just assumed it was coffee, but I know they like said no, it's not coffee. So I always wondered, did they ever say, or did it was it ever revealed in the show and I just never caught it? Or I'm assuming there's some significance to it if they so strongly refuted the fact that it was coffee. So I just kind of was curious about that. If they ever revealed that. Anyway, this is fresh, so I have no notes. Throwing away the notes, throwing away the pen. We're just gonna kind of go at this. Hopefully, this goes well. I'm just gonna try and go through the episodes and kind of give my thoughts on it. I don't know how many thoughts I'll have, but we'll see. Was wondering, I was like, wait, maybe you see some of those like pathways going up in that shot right there, because I don't think you get much. You don't see that side of the cliff very often, but I'm gonna probably talk about most of the characters, at least of significance that I have something to say about. I'm gonna try and save it till we actually like get something on them worth talking about. But yeah, we have Chibi Ruby here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a character in here I necessarily like disliked, even though I know some people are saying, "Oh, Weiss when she started," but yeah, Weiss as here she comes in now. Yeah, she was acting up a little bit, somewhat unnecessarily, but yeah, it was just yeah. But I don't think, like I said, I don't really have much. I didn't really have much of an opinion. I was like, oh, this is the story. I feel like I probably assumed that she would kind of come around, considering that she's one of the main characters. But yeah, it was kind of like messed up how she was treating everyone else. But all things considered, understandable. I have Blake coming in here. Blake, I never really had much of an opinion on. Like, I just kind of I mean, I couldn't really get much of a read off of her, but it's so I didn't really form much of an opinion. And I know some people are saying right now, why did you skip Yang? We'll get to that. But yeah, Jean here at this, not quite at this point, but at the beginning of the show, Jean was my favorite character. It's sad, but I saw some of myself in him. Probably not at this point yet. I'm not sure if I was quite ever this sort of lame at at one point. I probably was. I probably still am, and I'm just in denial. But it's yeah, I always thought their interactions with her and with him and Ruby were good. But yeah, not much too much to say on that. That's that's always kind of cool that Ruby uses her weapon to. I'm not saying anything new. Ruby uses her weapon to kind of get to know people as her icebreaker. I gotta log that one. But when I get something as cool as that, I'm just gonna carry it around with me all the time. I'd never really minded the shadow people like seeing it like this. It's kind of just like it's the easiest game of who's the pro tag. Yeah, we're gonna back up a little bit because I've always thought this. I've always been curious about this. Yeah, the whole wasted energy line. I've always been like, it's the first sign that all. That is actually the line. That is actually the line I wanted to talk about. Almost like he wasn't even there. Like, given what we know now, I'm still not sure what that line means. I'm very curious. I feel like they've probably talked about this, but I just missed it. But I've always been curious about what that means, like that specific part. The whole speech he gives is you know I guess intentionally ominous to like make you question. Because I don't think I ever suspected him of anything as the show was going on, but I had a friend who was suspicious of him from the start, but assuming he was evil and that sort of thing. So it's just kind of curious. Oh wow, I've never noticed before. You can kind of see some of these people have faces. I always just assumed it was just like nothing, but They actually do. You can see a little eye and eyebrows and this sort of thing. That's actually I've never noticed that before. Learning so many things. Oh my god, John walking in. Oh, I guess I should talk about Yang. Um, yeah, I mean, Yang was always cool. I think when I first started watching the show, well, where was I? I'm not sure. I think I might have been at season 4 or something like that. This when I said this, but I always thought Yang's fighting style was the best one, and it's just it's so someone asked me of the 4 girls, what's your favorite character, and I was like, it's got to be Yang, just because like how cool her fighting style is, and that's honestly was it for me. My favorite character is coming up, but yeah, but yeah, it's just like, but of the 4, I think just purely based on like her fighting style in that trailer, she was like my favorite character to watch. But I've always kind of been like I've always enjoyed this first part of the show, but like for someone watching, you know, people give that rule of the 3 episodes. You got to give a show 3 episodes to really get going. And this is if this show is not doesn't it doesn't really work. That rule doesn't really work because the second, third, and fourth all the episodes till like episode 8 are short. So that rule of 3 just not fair. Like where we're at now is like 1 episode. So it's just like 1 episode of a normal show if you had like an intro and all that. So it's just like it's always trying to kind of frustrating trying to get people into the show just based off of like the first couple the people that go by that rule, which I normally do myself, but yeah, it's just not the same for this show. Oh, we already had my favorite character come in. There she is again. Let's see if I can actually like yeah, Piro was my giving out spoilers here. Piro was my favorite character. Um and and honestly, thinking about it, she still kind of is. No one has kind of taken the place of her for me. So yeah, it. I don't even know necessarily why. I don't know if it's because I saw some of myself in Jean and the fact that Pierre liked him, it just like kind of made me like her too. I don't know what it was, but I don't necessarily get into a lot of the shipping stuff, but John and Pierre were like one I was actually like rooting for and stuff. But but yeah, favorite character. I don't really know why, so I don't have any engaging things to say. This one maybe we'll say some stuff as it goes on, but another reason she was one of the main reasons she was my favorite is because man, she could fight. She was so good. I mean, well, she was the best. So yeah, it was always pretty cool. Like especially in that second season with her fight against getting ahead of ourselves. Let's kind of move on here. And I this was the scene I never noticed. I'm gonna slow it down for the people who might not ever have caught this. I like how she doesn't like grab the sword. It just kind of let me see if I can. I should have figured this out ahead of time doing the frame advancing. Oh, there we go. There we go. I figured it out. I think that was the perfect spot. So you just kind of see her come in, the first sign of her semblance before we even really knew what semblances were. And yeah, it's so subtle. Never caught that. Even with the sound cue, never caught it. I probably should have played it with the sound cue, but we'll watch the show on your own. It's on YouTube for free. Watch it again. Listen for the sound cue. I think Ren's was my favorite. Not favorites in terms of character, but his landing strategy. I always thought that was cool. Got this fight. This fight was cool. Just seeing you get more scenes of her using the recoil once her hair gets cut. This fight has always been like, I don't know. It starts off so like slowly paced. It always kind of like going. I guess it's kind of it's such a sharp contrast from seeing like all this is just like going from this and then you have this fight here. So it's a lot of standing around. So it's just like, well, I guess that's not so much the problem. It's just because, oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Ignore everything I just said. The reason I always thought this was just strange is just because it's just like, why did they have to go? Why couldn't they fight those monsters? I guess because of the fire, they didn't chase them. I guess that's the point what they're trying to make. But it always just seemed strange to me, and I don't really so what I'm gonna try to do when I criticize, I'm gonna try and put possible ways for it to may have been better. But this is one of the ones where I can't really necessarily think of something that would work better for that situation. But I don't know. It's just it just seemed so strange. Like they're ready to go, and then Weiss is like, "We have to go." Like like what? I mean, I guess trying to stop the fire and fight Grim would have been a lot, but I don't know. From what we've seen of these girls, it just doesn't. It seems like something they could have done at this point, but I don't know. That's a little bit much for this episode, considering some of the crazy stuff that's coming later. I don't know. Maybe they could have had something just like creep them out, something that seemed imposing. Maybe kept it in the shadows if they didn't want to actually reveal it, or I don't know, something. At this point, you don't really understand how grim are scaled or anything. These this that one's this I'm assuming that one's there are they called alphas? I can't remember, but that's like the more intense one. But he doesn't really have like the bony structure of the really crazy ones, so it doesn't like as far as you know, this is just one like rearing his head, and it could be. I'm not really sure myself. Like maybe they could have had one that was a bit more imposing, that was just like just wiling out or something. I was like, yo, we need to just go. This is too much. So like it may or maybe they take out like one or two, and then that one comes in, just wrecking everything. Like maybe that they could have done that. I'm gonna kind of skip past Friends fight, even though it's a cool fight, especially how it ends. We gotta play this part at least. You know, or at least because this is the beginning of the aura part. So you see the aura part coming in, and I always when I first saw this, I remember thinking, "Oh snap! This is just like Hunter x Hunter." Great scream there. Oh, that's slow. Some girls in trouble. Oh man, I think I like this line coming up here. I don't know why, but not the relic. It's not. I don't know. That's always made me laugh for some reason. Yeah, so moving right into eight. I can't imagine watching the show like as it was dropping with these 5 minute episodes. That'd have been a lot. That'd have been a lot. Too much for me. Man. This I'm just gonna gush about the show a little bit, not too much, but man, this was the episode. I think this is the same for most people that really solidified their love for the show, and I'm just gonna kind of speed it up here. Man, it was so good. It's just like the build up, the splitting off of the teams, just really good. You get reveals of weapons and everything. Oh man, just Nora coming in here, just wrecking everything. The trailers didn't wasn't enough. You're like, I don't know, that's just the trailers. This what's the show like? Just the teamwork that both these teams like were putting together. Just like the coordination of attacks, everything, the talking, just 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 I mean, just look at it. It's just so good. And just man, it's just so good. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say about this about these fights in this episode. It's just great. Yang being awesome. Oh man, it's so got I think I mean the last moment of this fight is really what solidified it for me. You know, I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm watching the whole show. If they can produce at moments like this, that was one of the this moment was probably one of the most excited I ever been watching a show. And I was just locked in for the ride at this point. Man, it was so good. Just the coordination of all the abilities being fully utilized in a combination attacks. That was the magic that this show has. It's just I love it when they do it. If when they're not doing like really close combat, I just love their team attacks, and I think a lot of people did too. And once this episode ends, we're just gonna kind of call it. I think we kind of went through a good amount of it. Hope you guys enjoyed this series. Me just kind of talking, gushing about the show. The end is always something that's tripped me out because it's like a card. It's it's a card, but it's like it also seems to be it's treated like cash. It's a card, but you get to reveal here that it's like cash. I don't know if that was just a change at this point. It's just like because people just use it like cash, even though it's a and you see like an actual credit card that Weiss has later on in the show. So I never understood why it had the swipeable barcode, or it's just like preloaded money. I don't really know. I've always been curious of how the actual cash works in this series. Maybe someone can explain it to me. But yeah, so that's sort of my thoughts on the first 8 episodes of RWBY. Curious is if this will kind of be interesting to people. It's kind of long, so I'm gonna keep it short. But yeah, so that if you guys are interested, if I missed something that you actually curious my thoughts on, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll try and respond or just go back on it, or either make a video or just respond in the comments. So if you like this, keep watching. I'm gonna try my best to get fairly far. We'll see if anyone actually like is interested to hear me kind of talk over all this stuff. It's a little different than most rewatches, but I don't really feel like I could talk about every scene like as it was playing, to do it episode by episode. So hope you like this format. Maybe we'll see keeping it going. I'm not really sure yet. Just kind of got like feeling the need to talk about RWBY, so I figured I'd do it here. But anyway, you guys take care.